Hey, so in this video we're going to be talking invoices. Not the most thrilling subject on the planet, but essential nonetheless. So I'm going to be talking about why they're important and how you can get them to help you with lots of different things in your Amazon business. Now, especially when you are a beginner, invoices are going to be super essential, because they are the literal key to getting you engaged in all manner of categories and for all manner of brands. Now, just a little bit more on that. Obviously, you can be gated in certain things on Amazon when you get started. The reason for being gated is just Amazon trying to protect their customer base and themselves, because if they let literally anyone sell anything, and people then start selling counterfeit goods and just sort of like stuff that doesn't live up to what exactly it is, it's just going to cause chaos. And part of why Amazon is so good is because of how well they police their platform. That's why lots of people use it. That's why lots of people have trust in it. So you have to build up a rapport with them when you get started. If you think about it, they don't know you. They don't know what type of seller you are. And it's what stops there being, bad sellers on the platform. Okay, so getting engaged is just a part of selling on Amazon. Don't let it put you off. It is actually a lot easier than anyone makes out. And in fact, it's not really that difficult at all. So if anyone is telling you that it is difficult, don't listen to them, because it really isn't, okay? But anyway, when you go to get engaged, often it will ask you for an invoice dated within 180 days of the date that you're submitting your application, and it will tell you sort of like the oldest date that it's going to allow, and that changes all the time, by the way, so don't take that as as what it is all the time. It changes every single day. So it's got to be within 180 days of you making the application. It will also ask that the invoice has your name and address on there, the same one that you use for Seller Central, and it also needs the manufacturer or the distributor's name and address on there as well. Okay, so it doesn't have to be that you have to buy from the brand. You can also buy from a distributor of that brand. There's only some instances where you do need to, actually talk to the brand and potentially buy from them. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. Right. Invoices as well. You also need to show that you have purchased at least 10 units of that item. Now, if it is an Amazon invoice, then it needs to be at least 50 units on that invoice. But anything else, so from a manufacturer or distributor, it needs to be at least 10 or more, right? And that needs to be shown clearly on the invoice. It's got to be dated. So long as you have that information on there, then you're all good. Now, how exactly do we get our hands on an invoice? Now, when you are getting started with Amazon, you will see lots of people talk about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage as starting points, right? And yes, they are great starting points. They're very accessible for anyone and everyone. Anyone that comes and does Amazon can do either of those methods, and they're great ones to get started with. Now, for getting engaged, checking your eligibility is super important, right? So you can do that through Amazon Seller Central. If you have BuyBotPro, BuyBotGo, then you can do that using those tools as well. And they will do it for you. They can also auto ungate for you. So basically they'll do the knocking at the door for you. And if Amazon lets you in, they let you in. If they need more stuff, then they need more stuff. It's always worth, by the way, just as a side note, trying to auto ungate anything that you come across, or if you're just using Seller Central on its own, then just applying, because sometimes things only take that knock at the door and Amazon let you in. Other things require a bit more, like invoices and such. Now, if you're doing retail arbitrage, how exactly do you get an invoice, and can you use a receipt? Now, it isn't unknown for submitting a receipt to be enough, and Amazon let you in, but don't take that as, if it's been allowed in the past and people are doing it and can do it, then it's what I should also do as well. No, and it won't work every single time. If it does work, it won't work every single time. Okay, so receipts can work, but it's not what you should be using on the application. Amazon asked for an invoice for a reason. It's exactly what they need, with all of the details on it, to process and approve your application. receipts can work, as I say, but not every time. And if you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, Amazon may go, oh, hold on a minute, let me review all of this seller's application. So hold on a minute, they've been receipts every single time, so it's not met the criteria that we've asked for. And then you might find that you end up sort of in hot water with Amazon. So you can use receipts, but don't be using them to get gated, at least if you can avoid it, and it is very avoidable. Now, how do you get a receipt if you're doing retail arbitrage? Well, a store manager or customer service desk can help you out with that, right? You can say that you need an invoice. If you request it, then most of the time a store will be accommodating to that, and they will put together an invoice for you. They might redirect you to somewhere else to get an invoice. So it might be that, if you email, this email, then they can do an invoice and so forth. So if you do get a receipt or something, then it's probably important to keep a hold of that, because the store might need that to then generate the invoice, right? So you basically have to ask them. With online arbitrage, it's a case of hopping on a support chat with someone that works there, if they have live chat options, or just emailing support or phoning up. And if you do any of that stuff, it's important to have a hold of your order number when you've placed your order, so that way they know exactly what they're looking for and they can put together an invoice for you. Make sure that if it's somewhere whereby you are requesting an invoice, that you are requesting the information to be on it that Amazon have requested, right? So it's got to be dated, it's got to have the address on it that you use for Seller Central, and also the company name and address, right? And the item with the order quantity and so forth. So with retailers, whether that be online or in real life, it's a bit sort of like 50-50 as to how accommodating they are to the invoice, and if they are going to do that in sort of like ample time. Now with wholesale suppliers, usually most of them will just ping you an invoice when you place an order. They'll just do that right off the bat. And if you do have to request it from them, then they are a lot more accommodating, and will be a bit more on it when putting together that invoice for you. So that's not me saying don't bother with OA and RA for getting gated, because you can do that. You just have to communicate with them. But if you want the chances of getting an invoice with everything on it, if you want them to be higher, then go for a wholesale supplier first. You just have to order 10. You don't have to do anything more, just at least 10. And then get the invoice from them, and then maybe go back to your RA and OA if that's what you want to do, or you just continue down the wholesale route. So it's completely up to you what you want to do. I'm just telling you that's how you get invoices. So with retailers, it often means that you have to ask them to put something together for you. And it's really hard to say which ones are going to be more accommodating to doing invoices, because it really does vary. And it can also vary per branch as well. It just depends, on the day. It depends on the staff. They should be able to. With wholesale suppliers, most of the time you'll get it right away. And if you do have to request, then usually they'll be a lot more accommodating, because their clientele are usually business clients that need invoices for their business. Now, invoices are what you're going to be using to submit to Amazon to get gated, right? And invoices are also really useful as well for literally any problem that you're going to have with Amazon. I'm not saying that you are going to, but if you do, but I mean, you can expect if you are doing Amazon, there will be certain things that crop up. It might be with missing inventory, stuff gets damaged. It might be with a return, a dispute, something like that. Usually when there's something like that, some form of issue, then usually what Amazon end up asking for 9 times out of 10 is an invoice. And even if they don't, you should just submit one anyway to them and say, hey, look, having this problem, here's the invoice for the order, for the items, and that's usually a good starting point for getting a resolution to whatever problem it is that you're facing. Also, getting into the habit of keeping your invoices and getting them as well is going to help you out massively if you already are VAT registered. Okay, because you can only make a certain amount in the UK before you then have to go VAT registered and give the government their slice of the pie. Invoices are important because there's a bunch of things that you can claim back once you go VAT registered, and invoices are usually pretty good to have. And also receipts as well for claiming certain things back and adding them on as business expenses and so forth. So get into the habit of getting invoices where you can. As I say, once you're gated, it might be that you then go and do online arbitrage. You're not going to get like proper invoices every single time, but probably get into the habit of requesting them, or at least keep your receipts or order confirmations, just something that shows the purchase for your records. And if you are getting invoices and receipts in paper, just remember, receipts and just paper in general, it's not going to last. So if you can take a picture of it, you are covered, you are safe. If you are having physical copies of receipts and invoices, it's probably worth getting some of those boxes with the little dividers in them and stuff, so that way you can store things in it for your business and you know where everything is, you're keeping it all together. It's as simple as that to basically maintain and keep all of your invoices and receipts. It's always good to keep every single proof of purchase that you have. And if you can get a digital version of it, even better, because that's not going to perish unless you accidentally delete it. But make sure that you don't delete it. So set aside a folder or something. Maybe as well get some kind of backup, whether that be iCloud or a physical sort of like backup device or something like that you can store those things on as well, in case something happens to your device. You've not lost everything to do with your business, invoices, receipts and such. So they are super, super important to the running of a business. And I can't stress that enough. So that is how you can get invoices. And those are some of the important things that they can do for you and your business. Hopefully this video was useful for you. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you soon.